How you doing, YouTube? This is Gunnery Sergeant 67 bringing you another YouTube video. Today's YouTube video is going to be on solar generators versus gas generators. Which prepping item is better to have? Alright, YouTube, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so one of the things that I get asked all the time is, what should I start out with? Or what should I get if I can only get one type of power generation method? And I never really thought about it until now. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to kind of go over the pros and cons of each one. We're going to go over the pros and cons of a gasoline generator, the pros and cons of owning a solar generator, and then we're going to go ahead and just have a mini discussion, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on this particular topic at the very end. All right, so let's go ahead and first start talking about the pros and cons of the gasoline generator. So, a gasoline generator, like the one that is right in front of you, I've talked about this before on a couple of videos. It's by Briggs & Stratton 5750 watt generator, gasoline generator. This thing has a capacity of 7,185 starting watts, and it has a continuous running wattage of 5,750 watts. This thing can power anything in my house. I've never had an issue, and I've sat down there and had this plugged up for many hours. It takes a little over 5 gallons, and usually that 5 gallons on 50% load will usually last about 12 hours. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the pros and the cons of owning or purchasing and owning a gasoline generator. The pros. First off, this produces cheap power. Very cheap. It's relatively inexpensive when comparing cost per wattage. So with a gasoline generator, propane, or dual fuel generator, you have about 10 cents per watt, maybe a little bit more. This generator I went ahead and bought at Home Depot a couple years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I bought it after taxes and everything out the door was a little over, it's about $529. You go ahead and take what the wattage is and you divide that into the price, and it came out to just a tad under 10 cents. It was like 9 cents, 9.8 cents, so I rounded up to 10 cents. So very, very inexpensive power. Also, gasoline generators, propane generators, dual fuel generators are traditionally durable, and they usually last a long time if you take care of them. Additionally, to keep these running, gas, diesel, propane, or dual fuel, they're readily available. Even here in Florida, when there's a hurricane coming, usually, there's usually a bit of a line, but you can go get the fuel for these and you can stock up. That way you can go ahead and utilize them. So the fuel to run these is readily available. All right, let's talk about some of the cons. The cons for owning a gasoline, diesel, propane, or dual fuel generator is they're noisy. Everyone knows you have power, so they're gonna think to themselves, what else do you have? It comes down to OPSEC, operational security. Having a gasoline generator doesn't really give you the ability to conceal your preps from your neighbor or anyone that is looking to take what you have. With gasoline generators, you can only operate them outside due to the carbon monoxide they produce. Just about everybody knows carbon monoxide is a very hazardous gas, and every single year, especially during wintertime, there are always quite a few deaths across the United States because of carbon monoxide poisoning, because people pull in their gasoline generators into their garage or their homes and they run them to run their power. It's definitely a con. Another con is the continued maintenance cost. After you do the initial purchase, you continually have to purchase gas. You have to change the oil in these consistently. This one, every 100 hours, I change the oil in this. You have to also do frequent preventative maintenance parts like your air filter, spark plugs, spark plug wires, and etc. Again, these are outstanding when you upkeep all of those preventative maintenance checks and services. But if you don't have access to those, or if you're strapped for cash, it can definitely be a con. Another con is to generate power with this is only possible when gas, diesel, propane is available. If none of those are available, if you have some type of regional disaster and the logistical chain stops delivering, or there's a reason why the grid is down and you can't get that gas or propane or diesel out of the ground, the pump stop working, you're kind of up shit's creek. The last thing is stockpiling of gas and just challenging and hazardous for most people. Gas is very flammable, especially the fumes. A lot of people, especially people that live in apartments, condos, or people that don't have like sheds or a huge backyard, don't have a whole lot of options as far as storing an appropriate level of gas, diesel, or propane to keep these running for a long period of time. So that is the pros and cons of a gasoline generator. Let's go ahead and talk about the pros and cons of owning a solar generator. The pros and cons of purchasing or owning solar generators. Let's go over the pros first. They're quiet. They're extremely quiet. You can go ahead and operate these things and nobody will be the wiser. It's a huge contrast from operating a solar generator to gasoline, diesel, propane generators. Another pro is you can operate them indoors safely. Utilizing solar generators indoors, they don't produce any hazardous or toxic gases or emissions. They run off of lithium ion or lithium ion batteries. They're extremely safe. There is no issues with running them inside. Another pro is there's no maintenance cost associated with them after the initial purchase. Once you purchase these, you have absolutely no additional costs to these solar generators. A lot of them, you can buy packages that include the wiring and the solar panels, and you plug and play, and you put it out in the sun, and you can start utilizing these to power your devices in your home. Another pro is the sun provides free energy. As long as that sun is out, you can create power with these solar generators. All right, let's talk about some of the cons. They're expensive when you're comparing cost per wattage, usually averaging out to about $1 per watt. But mine, specifically this one, was about 60 cents per watt due to free shipping and military discount. This is the biggest solar generator I own right now. I'm hoping to actually purchase a Jackery 1000 plus here in the next couple of months. I'm saving up for that. But this right here is the biggest one I had. And when I purchased this, it was on sale. I bought it from Home Depot and I got free shipping and I got 10% military discount. So after taxes and everything like that, it came out to something like $429. And that's including a 110 watt solar panel. So to me, that was well worth it. And it came out to just a tad under 60 cents per watt. So we'll go ahead and round up for understanding's sake of 60 cents per watt. Another con is you only have renewable power when the sun is out. So here in Florida, we got hurricanes. So when a hurricane comes or a bad storm, the sun is not available. So now all you have is the power that you've collected inside of these batteries. This EcoFlow River 2 Pro has 768 watt hours. This can run my refrigerator, my normal full-size refrigerator. It's a modern refrigerator. We bought it this year, and at its height, it takes about 189. The highest I've ever seen it go is 189 watts. Now, that is only when the compressor is on. Once it reaches temperature inside your refrigerator, the compressor kicks off, and now it's not really pulling any power. So I've actually had this, a full-size refrigerator, run for over a day. I think it was wound up being 28 hours. But with this, I've also got a 12-volt DC portable refrigerator in my IceCo JP42. So if I plug that into this, if I decide, hey, I need to go ahead and go bare bones, conserve as much power as possible, I take all my foods in my freezer portion of my refrigerator and stick it in my IceCo JP42. That will last easily 4 days just on one charge. So that is another thing you need to be very cognitive of when you use these solar generators, is that if you do go the solar generator route and you don't have the power of the sun to recharge these, you need to start thinking about how you're going to go ahead and conserve energy. Me personally, I make sure that I have more than one solar generator. This one, and then this Jackery Explorer 550, I bounce them back and forth. That way I can get longer times with my appliances with these two. So again, you only have power, renewable power, when the sun is out. The next con is to optimize solar absorption, you need to continuously reposition your solar panels. If anybody has ever dealt with solar panels, you know in order to optimize the most amount of power, sunlight, you have to constantly be out there and reposition those panels. And it's actually time consuming. So that is another con. I mean, you can leave them in the same spot for a longer period of time, but the percentage of power that you're going to be drawing from that drastically reduces. So you always have to reposition them to get the biggest bang for your buck. The next con is that solar panels can be seen by passerbyers. Again, everybody knows you have power. What else do they have? They're going to be asking themselves, what else does this guy has? It comes down to OPSEC, just like with the gasoline generators with the sound. Operational security. If you go with these solar generators, you need to ensure that your solar panels are set up in an area that is fenced in and shielded from sight. If you can do that, then, solar generators and the solar panels are for you. So, all right. Those are the pros and the cons of owning gasoline generators and owning solar generators. All right. Now, after all of this is said and done, what is my personal opinion on which one is better? My personal opinion is, when you take everything into consideration, and each person is going to be different because it depends on their situation, where they live, as far as, do they live in a home, do they live in a condo, do they live in an apartment, do they live on a farm, do they live in Florida, do they live in Texas, do they live in Alaska? There's so many variables to it, but when you strip everything down and you take their strengths and weaknesses, the best course of action, in my opinion, is to own both. And I know that's kind of a cop-out, but it is the truth. If you want to go ahead and have a extremely versatile and durable emergency energy production plan, you really need to go ahead and get both a gasoline generator, diesel, propane, dual fuel, and you really need to have some form of solar generator set. And I'll kind of give you an example of why you need to. So when a hurricane comes here to Florida, when we get hurricane season, and and we're in the middle of the hurricane, usually that is when just about every single time I've lost power here. And with that, I go ahead and I grab this EcoFlow River 2 Pro and I plug it right into my refrigerator. I plug it in, make sure it's running, make sure it's good to go, and then I go about my day. I go back periodically every time I pass by, see what the power level is, see how it's doing, and I've had no issues. If it starts getting to the point where it starts getting under 15%, that's when I will go ahead and switch these out. And that way I don't have to worry about completely draining one. And then usually once the hurricane has passed and once the sun comes back out, but power is still down, I will go into my shed in my backyard and I will pull out my gasoline generator. I'll pull out all my extension cords and I will go ahead and transition from my solar generators to my gasoline generator. Excuse me. And from there, I can go ahead and power anything in my house. I've been able to plug up my refrigerator, my freezer, my microwave, and my washer all at the same time and operate them all. And that gasoline generator runs them all. So I usually keep 5 gallons inside the generator, and then I usually keep 2 5-gallon 5-gallon fuel jugs of fuel along with it. So that gives me 15 gallons. That gives me a minimum of a day and a half for the power to get on. And usually what I will do once I turn on that generator and I transition it over to my gasoline generator, I will plug up the solar generators that are drained and it will get charged extremely fast. This EcoFlow River 2 Pro can go from 0 to 170 minutes. And I've tested it too. This one actually gets charged up way quicker. I've taken this all the way down to 3% and it's charged in 61 minutes. So extremely efficient. So what I'm getting at is that the gasoline generator and solar generators can complement themselves. One's shortfall can be the other's strength. And when you combine the two, you have a very durable and very dependable emergency energy plan. And I think that just about every American or every individual that's watching this, regardless of what country you live in, if your local laws allow it, you should try to go ahead and have some form of fossil fuel generation and solar generation. Because at the end of the day, it is just going to benefit you. When the grid goes down, you can pull power from either source, whether it be solar generators or your gasoline, diesel, propane generator. And it will give you power for an extended period of time. So that is my 2 cents for this video, YouTube. Solar generator versus gasoline generator. Get both. All it's going to do is aid you in being prepared and continuing to have power when the grid goes down. All right, YouTube, if you like this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you like my content, please hit that subscribe button. In the comments below, let me know what you like, what you don't like, and let me know, hey, did I get this right? Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you disagree, go ahead and put in the comments what you would do differently. Do you think gasoline generators, whatever fossil fuel generator you choose, is better to have? Or do you believe solar is better to have? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to go ahead and start a conversation about it. That's all for today. This is Gunnery Sergeant 67. I'm out.